come to me are businessmen, and one of the things that businessmen have to deal with is a lot of travel, whether it's driving around town or driving from one city to the next, or typically spending a lot of time sitting in an airport waiting to get on a plane, sitting in a plane and being in a really small space, grabbing their luggage in a hurry, lifting things in a very unintelligent way, which puts a lot of demands on a body that's already tight, on a person who's already frustrated, on somebody who's kind of dehydrated because there's not any humidity in the plane, so it dries out your tissue, dries out your sinus membranes. It's a very challenging thing to do, to fly even one time a week on a weekly basis. So those type of people who have, I look at their behavior almost the same way that I do an athlete, because they've got a certain demand that they're put on themselves. They've got to be able to perform. They've got to be able to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning for a business meeting and make a proposal and to look full of energy and to be full of life and to inspire their clients or the people who they're trying to sell things to make them want their product. And you can't do that if you feel bad. So as from the Rolfing perspective, what we're trying to do with these businessmen, in a sense, is to take all these kinks out of your body that have developed over the years of traveling around and lugging all your suitcases around, from being stuck behind your computer and sitting at your terminal and moving the mouse around hour after hour to the point where your hands begin to feel like leather and you're beginning to get carpal tunnel, which is one of the things that Rolfing helps tremendously with. That's one of the first things that got me interested in Rolfing, because as a guitarist and playing 5 hours a day, I had a lot of tightness in my wrist and hands just from repetitive use. Anytime you do something for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, the body will inherently begin to grow more connective tissue. It will begin to grow tissue and thicken structures up the same way that we would get calluses on our hands if we're doing a lot of yard work or manual labor. So anytime you're doing the same thing, whether it's sitting at a computer, whether it's working in the yard, whether it's working on an assembly line, whether you're playing the flute in the symphony, if you do that same task for 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, eventually what your body will do is say, well, we want to support these muscles, so let's grow a little more connective tissue. That way the muscles can relax a little bit and it's not so much of a strain. So your body will begin to grow into the pattern that you're trying to work from. The problem with that is that you begin to get stuck in that pattern. And so with Rolfing, we will allow you to be able to function in that position, whatever that is, but also give you the options to do lots of other things that you want to do in life. That will give you a lot more energy to work with. That will make you feel better. That will help you sleep better at night, because when you stop doing your job, you'll actually feel relaxed.
From the very first session, I felt like a sudden calmness had come all over me. I could think deeply. My thought was like penetrating. And as I got Rolf session after session, I could experience a day-to-day growth, a day-to-day release of tension, a day-to-day release of anger, things that I've never been able to do before. It's the feeling is like, well, now that child which was stifling inside of you has been allowed to grow. And since that day, I've been maturing in a way that I could hardly understand. It's like I always felt like a child, and now I'm feeling like a man.
So if you feel beat up and worn out from thousands of miles of air travel, I'm confident Rolfing can help you. Go to my website or give me a call. How does that sound?